4.7 is finally here, and it includes a bunch of different changes to the game. And one of the biggest ones is going to be crafting, obviously, but we're also getting our Rockbreaker stations. We're getting armor reworks for ships. We're getting an inventory rework, and a lot of different things are changing in regards to the game in general. So let's go ahead and talk about all those industry changes in the 4.7 patch. Before we get into that, thank you to all my YouTube members and Twitch subscribers. Your support keeps this channel running. And if you find this video useful, I would ask that you hit that like and subscribe button to help support the channel. It's free. It helps me as a creator, and I would appreciate it just so much. So without further ado, let's get into this haul. So we're going to start with mining. And so mining has not changed in regards to how you do mining. So your laser heads, your modules, and your gadgets have not changed. Your ships have not changed, but it is about the resource distribution overhaul. Now, what that means is rocks now follow structured compositions. And so it's no longer based on RNGesus. Like, you're not going to go up to a granite rock, a felsic rock, or igneous, and then you have to scan it and you don't know what you're going to get inside. What you are going to get is the ability to target farm specific types of materials. And so if you want to find aluminum, there will be, you can click on a moon now. It will tell you what materials are available on that moon, and you can target farm aluminum. Generally, aluminum will be paired with corundum, and that is not the only material that it is paired with, but it will generally be one material, one or two materials, and then inert material. So for instance, aluminum is always going to be paired with corundum. Copper is always going to be paired with tin. And then you could have a 3-item selection. So hephaestonite is always paired with quartz and silicone, for instance. Agricium is always paired with titanium and aslurite. So the way this works is a rock has a primary composition. In our example, we'll just say aluminum. And aluminum takes up anywhere between 40 to 90% of a rock's composition. This leads into the split of quality and materials, and this could change, but we're in RC1 at the moment, so I doubt it will. But that being said, of that 40 to 90% of that rock composition, so let's say we have 90% of aluminum, 1 to 5% of that is supposed to be a higher quality material. Now I say supposed to be because there's never a 0% chance that your majority material is not higher quality than your 5%, 1 to 5% material. So the rest of the rock composition is going to take up either your secondary material, and that will be between like 5 to 10% of the rock, and then anything that is remaining will be inert material. If you have 3 composition or 3 material composition, it'll be 80, like 40 to 90%, and then 5 to 10%, 5 to 10%, and then the remaining is inert. So the last thing we need to talk about that has changed with mining is the insertion of quality. But I feel like before we get into quality, we need to talk about crafting first. So that's what we're going to talk about next. Crafting is nothing intuitive. They haven't reinvented the wheel on how crafting works and all that stuff. You go through your basic crafting routine where you insert your highest quality materials to make the best quality product that you want in the end. Coming in the 4.7 patch, the only items that we can craft currently at the tier 1 or tier 0 level, whatever they're calling this crafting, is FPS weapons and armor and the weapons subsequent ammo. Now the ammo is just the generic ammo that you could buy at shops, so if you want to craft it, you can. It's a use for your lower quality materials, but for the actual FPS weapons and armor, you have different components that you can input into the weapon. Basically, each weapon is going to have like a frame, a barrel, and a stock. And each one affects either recoil, your impact force, which is damage, or some weapons will have fire rate modifiers, some will have spread modifiers, so on and so forth. As you put these higher quality materials into like the frame or the barrel or whatever the case is, those modifiers will go up. I'm not sure what the max percentage is. I've heard some people say it's 10%. I've heard some people say it's 20% on armor for like damage mitigation. I've heard some people say the max is like 15% for damage on a weapon. I've seen others say like 90%. We're only in tier 1. We don't know what the min and maxes are yet. I'm sure somebody will pull the data, but that is how that is working currently. So 0 is the worst quality, 1000 is the best quality. So let's talk about blueprints. And blueprints, you will have some by default on the fabricator when you first open it up. The only recipe that I think anybody would really want to use is the P4AR. And so you're going to want to go find your own recipes or blueprints. Now, in the current crafting state, I would imagine most people are going to want to get like heavy armor or their favorite weapon, which understandable. But just keep in mind, they have been teasing Starware in the past couple of SCLs and just kind of in post as well. So I would imagine an armor overhaul may come into play in some capacity here in the near future, but that's just me speculating. So the way that you obtain blueprints is going to be through missions and different mission types currently. I imagine there will be other ways to get them in the future, but you can obtain them through the new Rockbreaker event, the ASD repeatable missions, some of the Foxwell like ambush or patrol missions. And there's quite a few, for instance, Shubin Interstellar. So there's quite a few missions that you can run through. And once you complete them, you will be awarded one blueprint of a set. So for instance, the ASD missions, the repeatable missions, will give you one piece of armor from either the Corbel or Geist set, or you have a chance for the Fresnel LMG or the Zenith sniper rifle. These blueprints do not repeat, and they are 100% guaranteed once you complete a mission, but you do have to do them repeated many times to get all of them. After you complete the mission that will give you a blueprint, it will be rewarded to you automatically, and it will stay on your fabricator. It is not physicalized. You're not supposed to be able to trade blueprints. There will be some blueprints that are physicalized, but majority of them will not be. We haven't seen any physicalized blueprints yet, so be on the lookout for those in the future. That being said, once you head on over to the fabricator, you will see that blueprint on there, and that's where material quality comes into place. So as you select a weapon or ammo or a piece of armor, you will notice that it will request 3 different material types or 2 different material types, whatever the case may be. And as an example, we have the FS9, which has 3 different materials. It's requesting the iron, hephaestonite, and lindenium. The iron makes the barrel, the hephaestonite makes the stock, and the lindenium makes the frame. Each one of those affects the weapon and how it's built in different ways. So for instance, the iron or the barrel affects your damage and fire rate, where your stock and frame affect different stats in regards to recoil. And so as you're out mining, looking for all these materials you need to craft, you're going to need to find higher quality materials. And currently the minimum quality that you need is 500 in order to craft anything, unless you were crafting ammo, in which it would be 300. The quality of material that you can have is from 0 to 1000, and 1000 being the best, 0 being the worst. 1000 is supposed to be the most rare that you can find, but let me tell you, I've also found plenty in both Pyro and Stan and Nyx of just 500 and less quality material. But that being said, Pyro is supposed to have a higher percent chance of having higher quality materials, so just keep that in mind. Pyro may be a hotspot for miners in the future. So this is really where the player economy comes into place, and while we don't have an actual trading system, being able to get higher quality materials or the best armor with 1000 quality materials, these items will sell for millions and potentially billions, depending on how the economy is set in the future. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the new QV breaker stations, and there are plenty of videos on it, and I know a lot of you have seen the Salty Mike video or Mr. Kraken's guides, whatever the case may be. I know majority of you know about it. We're just going to cover this really quickly. There are 2 types of QV breaker stations currently: exclusive and public. And by public, it's not full public, like you can't quantum to those locations. I believe they said in the SCL, the public stations support up to 5 different groups. So basically 5 people can accept that mission and their groups can go to that one location. And that's going to bring us to the cost of getting one of these exclusive or shared locations. This has changed many times over the PTU cycles, but towards the end, they ended with a 850,000 price tag for exclusive locations and 150,000 for shared locations. They've now implemented another barrier to entry, and that is going to be reputation. You need Shubin Interstellar rank 3 or junior rank in order to unlock the exclusive breaker stations. As for the shared locations, you are going to need rank 1. I'm unsure if that's neutral or if it is rookie rank. Essentially, do you have to complete one contract for Shubin or not? That I'm not 100% sure if that's the case. But that being said, the shared location should be available fairly early on in the reputation, so you don't have to grind as much. Next, we're going to talk about the inventory rework, and this is, unfortunately, it's just lipstick on a pig, and it's the same system with the same problems. It just looks better. It does have some better like functionality in regards to moving items from one location to another. They did add AoE looting again, but it's not in the capacity that it used to be. So you can't open your local inventory while you're in your ship in your hangar. That's not a thing, but you can if you're standing next to your storage terminal, press I, and that will open up both your character sheet and your local inventory as well. If you're standing next to 3 boxes, for instance, you can stand in the middle of them and it will open all 3 boxes and you can just cycle through each one of them. Now, here's some honorable mentions in regards to some changes in this particular patch cycle. First is going to be commodities got a price hike. Now, when I first went and looked at this at Orison, I believe I went and looked at Borace and at Orison, and it had a 300% price hike. So we saw an increase in prices, which makes sense because commodities are no longer as available in rocks as they used to be. No longer are the days of finding like 60k rocks with 160 SCU of like whatever material inside of it. That being said, that also brings up that mining has, like, minables have been reduced in regards to mass and SCU size, but density also plays a larger part. So something that is more dense, like tungsten, you will see the mass of tungsten rocks be larger than that of silicone. And density actually really plays a role in that. And I don't think a lot of people saw that change implemented, which is really cool from my perspective. It was really neat, really discovering that for the first time. Another quality of life thing is they have added the ability to attach items to the cargo grid if you are holding them in your hand. So previously this was not possible. You could just place them on the ground. And if you place them on the ground, more than likely they were going to do their little physics like vibrate through the cargo elevator floor if you weren't quick enough and you were going to lose your stuff. So that has been changed in wonderful quality of life update for that. So last thing that we need to talk about is both of these are in the Nix system, and one is that the People's Alliance service station in Nix have been added. There are 4 locations. I don't remember the names, but it's like People's Alliance service station Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta or something like that. There's 4 stations, and they're scattered within the Keeger Belt in Nix. Now, the Keeger Belt is a new asteroid belt that is on the outside of the Nix 3 ring. It is very dark, it is very dusty, but if you enjoy asteroid mining, I had a very good time in there. I also found quite a bit of Savrillium, but you're not going to find as much Savrillium as you would if you were to go do a Rockbreaker station. Now, the last thing that I need to talk about is they have added the planets to the Nix map. Now, I say the Nix map, like if you open your Moby Glass and go to the map tab, you will see, or at least in PTU, we saw that the planets were there on the map. Now, this could mean absolutely nothing. This could also mean that Genesis is right around the corner and we might be seeing Nix planets within the next couple of months. Will it be 4.8? Maybe. 4.9 is probably more likely, but it's yet to be determined. So That's going to be it for this industry update for everybody. This is a huge patch. There's going to be a lot of grinding to do, but if you are into that kind of thing like I am, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm Saxon with SC Haulers, and we'll see you at the next haul. Love you. Bye.